Hello, it's Rachel. Today I'm discussing Kung Fu Season 3, Episode 9. So, this will probably be shorter than my usual reviews because honestly, I don't have that much to say about this episode. But given this is the return from hiatus, I didn't want to skip doing a review. So, we immediately jump back into things, and the episode starts with an ad targeting Nikki that is meant to basically ruin Jin's political campaign. Obviously, this upsets the whole family, and the negative ad doesn't do much to help with Nikki's inner turmoil after the way she handled things with Bo. She tries to go about her normal business, but when that proves to not be very effective, she asks Henry to take over in the search for Pei Ling, as Nikki is realizing that she's not in a good headspace and probably needs to take a step back from everything to recover from this betrayal. But just as Nikki is discussing this with Henry, Ryan comes to her about an individual that she had previously helped, Damien, and he's been brought to the hospital and is being watched by some guards from Delta Securities, a company that's been brought up a handful of times so far this season. So Damien insists he didn't do what he's being accused of, and the group starts to dig into Delta as they suspect that he's being framed. And while they're digging into this, Mei Li learns that Delta was behind the ads that are targeting Nikki, and that they are controlling the person who is Jin's opposition. So I get that the storyline about Delta is supposed to be a criticism over policing, and as someone who is very against the police being militarized and thinks they should be defunded, I'm definitely not mad to see a show being like, hey, this is a bad policy. But I don't know. Something about the execution is just off to me. Maybe it's the fact that the whole concept of the show hinges on the audience accepting vigilantism as a good thing, because vigilantism is really only as good as the morals of the individual who is doing the vigilantism. So obviously, like, it's not inherently good. And even if the individual does have good morals, I think it's still questionable in real practice. Um, or maybe it's the fact that magic is so integral to all of the other big bads that the show has had. So having what is a very human antagonist just like inherently makes them seem less threatening. But even if this Delta plot fit more naturally, given the the whole mysticism element of the show, I feel like it'd still be hard for me to be invested because, as I've just been alluding to, like, the threat that Zhao poses seems way scarier. Like, she can possess people. She has otherworldly powers. She literally committed genocide in her previous life. She's basically threatened to kill Mei Li multiple times. Like, I'm sorry, it's hard to care about Delta. And it doesn't help that we're on episode 9 of 13. Like, there's just not enough time to wrap up both the Zhao storyline and the Delta storyline in 4 episodes. And if they were trying to set up Delta as, like, the villain for season 4, dedicating an episode to them right after increasing Zhao's presence and making her more powerful, mm, it doesn't feel like a good time to introduce that. Like, it's just so jarring because we had 8 episodes dedicated to Zhao and like the battle between her and Pei Ling. And now the show is like, okay, pause. We didn't resolve this, but we need to introduce a normal human security company as a big threat to Nikki. It's weird. It's very weird. But anyway, back to the actual story of the episode. So the group determines where Delta's headquarters are. And of course, Nikki and Henry break in. So Nikki then finds evidence proving that Delta did indeed frame Damien, as well as stumbling on a bunch of files that they were keeping on other citizens. As Nikki tries to grab copies of all this to give to Althea, she gets caught and ends up face to face with the head of Delta. Of course, he gives the big villain speech where he says that Delta wants to be the savior to San Francisco, and since Nikki is currently their savior, they can't be until they remove her from the board, so to speak. And, more garbage about why living in a police state is a good thing. Nikki's conversation with this man ends with him telling her that everything she did in the building is on camera and the police are coming. So as he leaves her alone in this room, Henry rushes in to break her out and save her. And Nikki insists on him leaving her behind so she can, quote, unquote, face the consequences of her actions. And so the episode then ends with Nikki arrested and in jail. And it's just like, what are we doing? Like, everything about this episode is just so perplexing that I can't even manage to feel an emotion other than confusion. Like, I think this might be the moment the show jumped the shark because it's just bizarre. Like, it feels like Nikki being arrested was solely decided to be shocking and to, I guess, derail the search for Zhao. But, like, I can't come up with a word other than bizarre. It's bizarre. I I don't know. I don't have any idea where things are heading from this point. Obviously, Nikki's not going to be in jail for that long. And given Althea was saying to Dennis that they need to talk to his parents to get bail money, she may even be out by the start of the next episode. Um, I don't know what's going on anymore. If anyone has any thoughts on the episode, feel free to leave a comment because I'm curious to hear other people's perspective on it. And I'll catch you guys next week for episode 10. Bye.